So when we think about running recovery, we think about like the short, easy runs, the sleeping and the eating and the nutrition, rolling out or getting massages, all that kind of stuff. But there's another big piece of recovery that we ignore a lot of times. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. We're going to first dive into something called the autonomic nervous system, which is kind of in charge of controlling like involuntary things that go on inside your body. There's the sympathetic nervous system, which is kind of your fight or flight, high alert, high demand system. And then there's your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, your relaxation type of system. And both of these like, can play a role in your recovery depending on kind of which system is on and active. Because there can really only be one of each system like alive and active at any given time. And like what's going on in your daily life impacts that. So let's say you're at work and you're stressed out. That's going to be your sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. Fight or flight sounds dramatic, but it's really just anything where you're kind of having to stress out, where you're kind of having to really engage your brain or engage yourself physically. Just it's not relaxation. Whereas your parasympathetic system is that'd be like if you're just sitting on the couch watching TV or like playing a relaxing video game, like that kind of thing. And depending on which system is activated, it plays a role in like how you're recovering. Like you're going to recover better if your parasympathetic system is the one that's active. If you're resting and digesting, relaxed, not in fight or flight mode, like your body's not stressed out, it's low cortisol. That parasympathetic system is the one that is going to help us recover if we can kind of be in that mode more often. And it's true with recovery, which in turn makes it true for athletic performance. There's been studies with college athletes who they have certain athletic measurements taken, like force output, strength, speed, all these things, reaction time, and all those performance metrics are like taken at a baseline. But if you compare those baseline metrics to like when the same athletes are like during finals week and stressed out, like all those metrics are not as good. So if you're stressed out, if you're in that sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight mode, you're not recovering as much, your performance is going to suffer. Like you are going to be recovering the best if you are as relaxed as you can be. And I've kind of been on both sides of this recently and had my own experience. Whereas last year, like through most of 2024, I wasn't working a whole lot. Like the only work that I was really doing was substitute teaching, which was maybe 1 or 2 days a week and not over the summer. And then the work days are pretty easy. It's just 6 hours where you go to the school, you're in your classroom, and like your only jobs really are like take attendance, like pass out some papers maybe, and then just kind of watch over the class. Like it's not a very hard job. You're just sitting down, and throughout that whole period, even though I was training pretty hard, I was basically injury free like the whole year. Those days where I wasn't subbing, I was just kind of chilling at home. I could run in the morning and take a nap when I got home. My life is generally pretty relaxing. So despite getting a decent amount of training in, there's not a whole lot of like injuries or problems that I had. But recently, I got a new job and that's kind of impacted my schedule to where I'm now working Monday through Friday. I'm up on my feet a lot more. Thinking and using my brain, engaging in tasks more. I'm more likely to get stressed out at a job that's more performance based than substitute teaching. And what do you know? Within 2 months of getting this job and trying to maintain my training load, I started having all sorts of injury problems. Just the thing with my ankle that wouldn't go away. Take some time to nurse the ankle, and then I get like a problem with my hip flexor. take 2 more weeks off and try to come back fresh and bump my mileage really high and then get like a really bad stress fracture, which I'm still dealing with 3 months later. All this stuff that I was not dealing with a year ago, despite my training load being, less. Like I probably ran like 60 miles a week pretty consistently all through last year, whereas the past couple months since I've gotten this job have been like a struggle to run like 40 or 50 miles a week. And if I go anything beyond that, like I get seriously hurt. So that is a big difference that I've noticed and something that I've had to kind of look back in hindsight and kind of notice these patterns, and realize like the impact that what mode you're in on like can have on your recovery. Like I'm not sleeping any less than I was last year. I'm not really eating any differently than I was last year. And if anything, I'm doing less training, but I'm getting hurt way more. And I attribute that largely to just spending more time of my day in this fight or flight mode. I'm up standing at work, moving around, doing things versus just chilling at home or just sitting in a classroom or anything like that. And if you spend any time with a pro runner, you'll see that outside of training, their lives are pretty sedentary and pretty relaxing for that reason. I spent some time, like a couple nights, living with some guys who were pro runners, some of the best guys in the world, and like they worked out hard. They did some very difficult training, a lot of volume, pretty high intensity. But on that recovery day, I was with them on a Sunday. I woke up and one of them was making waffles in the kitchen and then went to just go play video games on the couch and eat his waffles. And the entire time I was there, I left the house at 2 in the afternoon. From the time I saw him when I woke up at 9 o'clock to when I left the house at 2 p.m., he did not get up off the couch at all. He just went back and forth between like eating, video games, TV, just relaxing about as hard as someone could. But it's in contrast with the super hard training and being just an amazing athlete. But that recovery, that ability to recover super hard and just sit there and do nothing all day, that ability to be in that rest and digest parasympathetic mode just as much as possible is what allows those guys to recover from the amount of training that they're doing. And that is true recovery. As much as we like to call it that, going for like an easy run isn't so much recovery. It's just still getting a stimulus at a level that's not going to hurt us or cause us any damage. Not really breaking us down like a workout would. The real recovery is taking a nap or like sitting on your couch watching your favorite show or movie. Like that is ultimate relaxation. That's when your body is actually shutting down, rested, and recovering. Now, the the biggest pillars of recovery are still like going to be the most important. Things like sleep and nutrition, like those are the big two. Those are probably going to have more impact than anything else. You can lounge around all day, but if you're getting 4 hours of sleep, I don't care who you are, like it's not going to work. But beyond those two, like I think the next biggest thing you can do is just try to get into that parasympathetic mode as much as you possibly can. And even if you feel like you're at your limit, the reality is that you might have to cut back on your training or you might have to increase things elsewhere. Like if you've got a stressful job, you're probably going to have to lower your volume. You're probably going to have to increase your sleep if you want to be able to handle that kind of training load. So each person's their own individual. It's going to be different for everybody. You just have to try to find your own balance or try to make adjustments to your lifestyle that are going to be able to accommodate the type of training that you want to do. And if you can't accommodate it, you're going to have to back off. Otherwise, you're going to end up like me, like hurt, not able to run for 3 months, still dealing with pain. Then that's just not a reality that I want you to have to go through. So if you found this helpful, but maybe you'd still like some additional help, I've got some ways to help you out. Just check the link in the description. But yeah, thanks for watching.